can't do that.
Wrong. The Terminator franchise didn't just redefine sci-fi. It turned its cast into legends. But behind the metal and mayhem, the actors faced battles far darker than anything Skynet could unleash. Some soared to unimaginable fame, while others were crushed under Hollywood's weight. Their stories of addiction, scandal, tragedy, and quiet redemption are as gripping as the films themselves. Arnold Schwarzenegger became an icon, but his personal life imploded in scandal. Linda Hamilton's fierce Sarah Connor masked private struggles with mental health. Edward Furlong, the young star of Terminator 2, saw childhood fame spiral into addiction and legal chaos. And for actors like Paul Winfield and Bill Paxton, their legacies were cut short by untimely deaths. This is where the real Terminator story begins, not with time-traveling robots, but with the humans behind the myth. Where are they now? Who survived the chaos of fame? And who paid the ultimate price? Strap in. The truth is more shocking than fiction. The Austrian oak who became Hollywood's most unstoppable force began his journey as a literal machine. The emotionless T-800 that would make him a global icon. At 37 during the 1984 film, Schwarzenegger's limited dialogue and robotic presence created one of cinema's most memorable villains, with that chilling "I'll be back" line entering the cultural lexicon forever. But behind the steel gaze, Arnold's real life mirrored his character's relentless determination. His post-Terminator career skyrocketed with classics like Predator and Total Recall, leading to an improbable political career as California's governor from 2003 to 2011. However, his personal judgment day came in 2011 when he admitted to fathering a child with his housekeeper, destroying his 25-year marriage to Maria Shriver. Now, at 77, the once unstoppable action hero has faced his mortality head-on, surviving emergency open-heart surgery in 2018 and more recently, getting a pacemaker. These health scares have forced him to slow down, though he remains active in environmental activism and bodybuilding advocacy. His recent Netflix documentary, Arnold, peeled back the curtain on his regrets, particularly the pain caused by his infidelity. Schwarzenegger's legacy is a paradox. The immigrant bodybuilder who achieved the American dream through sheer willpower, yet whose personal life nearly imploded from his own flaws. While his later films like Terminator, Dark Fate failed to recapture the magic, his cultural impact remains unparalleled. These days, he's traded the leather jacket for casual wear, spending time at his Los Angeles home and occasionally appearing at fan conventions, still greeting crowds with that famous Terminator catchphrase, now delivered with a knowing smile rather than a mechanical snarl. His story serves as the ultimate rags-to-riches tale with a sobering third act, proof that even the most indestructible icons are, in the end, only human. The machine may have been fictional, but Arnold's struggles and triumphs were all too real. The woman who redefined female action heroes began as an unlikely warrior, a diner waitress thrust into an apocalyptic nightmare. Linda Hamilton was just 28 when she first played Sarah Connor in The Terminator, 1984, but it was her transformative return in T2, Judgment Day, 1991, that cemented her as cinema's most resilient survivor. Muscled, battle-hardened, and fiercely protective, her Sarah Connor wasn't just a damsel in distress. She was the heart and soul of the franchise. Yet behind the scenes, Hamilton's life mirrored Sarah's struggles. Her marriage to Terminator director James Cameron in 1997, after years of on-set tension, ended in a bitter 1999 divorce, leaving her emotionally drained. Around the same time, she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, a condition she later revealed had gone untreated for years, contributing to career instability. Personal tragedies compounded her battles. A 2004 house fire destroyed her belongings, and progressive hearing loss forced her to relearn communication. After stepping away from Hollywood for nearly a decade, Hamilton made a triumphant return in Terminator, Dark Fate, 2019, proving Sarah Connor's grit wasn't just acting. Now 68, she's embraced a quieter life, advocating for mental health awareness, painting abstract art, and occasionally appearing in indie projects. Though she never replicated Terminator's fame, she paved the way for every tough heroine from The Hunger Games to The Last of Us. Hamilton's legacy isn't just a role, it's a real-life lesson in resilience. As she once said, asterisk, Sarah Connor survived the future. I just had to survive Hollywood. Asterisk. The haunted intensity Michael Biehn brought to Kyle Reese in The Terminator wasn't just acting. It foreshadowed his own turbulent journey. At 28 during filming, Biehn's portrayal of the time-traveling soldier willing to die for Sarah Connor should have made him an A-list star. Instead, his career became a case study in Hollywood's fickleness. Biehn followed Terminator with two more iconic Cameron collaborations, Aliens, 1986, and The Abyss, 1989, cementing his status as the era's quintessential tortured hero. But the 1990s brought a steep decline. Typecasting as the brooding soldier limited his roles, while personal demons took hold. A near-fatal accident in 1998, a horse-riding fall that shattered his leg, and subsequent painkiller addiction derailed his career completely. The actor who once shared the screen with Schwarzenegger spent the 2000s in straight-to-DVD obscurity. Financial troubles forced him to sell his Terminator memorabilia, including Reese's signature jacket. 2 failed marriages left him estranged from 3 of his 4 children. In recent interviews, Biehn has been startlingly candid about his struggles. I was the guy who had it all, then watched it slip away. Now 68, Biehn has found modest redemption. He reconciled with his eldest son, remarried, and occasionally appears at fan conventions where Terminator devotees still celebrate his performance. His 2023 memoir Time and Chance revealed shocking details, from being paid just $35,000 for Terminator to contemplating suicide during his lowest points. Biehn's story is perhaps the franchise's most tragic, a leading man who never got his due. Yet there's poetry in his legacy. Just as Reese sacrificed himself for a future he'd never see, Biehn's raw performance continues, inspiring new generations of actors, even if his own future didn't go as planned. As he recently told a convention crowd, "Kyle Reese was my gift to you. The rest was my battle to fight." When Paul Winfield delivered his iconic line, "That Terminator is out there, it can't be bargained with," as Lieutenant Ed Traxler, audiences had no idea the groundbreaking actor was making history just by being on screen. At 45 during filming, Winfield brought gravitas to what could have been a forgettable police role, his weary skepticism providing the perfect counterpoint to Sarah Connor's desperate warnings. The classically trained Juilliard graduate was already an Oscar nominee for 1972 Sounder when he joined the Terminator. But his presence in a major sci-fi film as a black actor in 1984 was quietly revolutionary. Off-screen, Winfield broke even bigger barriers, living openly as a gay man in an era when few actors dared, though he never publicly discussed his sexuality until late in life. His partner of 30 years, Charles Gillen Jr., died from a bone marrow disease in 2002, a loss that devastated Winfield during his own health struggles with diabetes and obesity. When he passed from a heart attack in 2004 at 64, the industry mourned an actor who elevated every project he touched, from Star Trek to Morton. Winfield's legacy extends far beyond his brief Terminator role. He was among the first black actors to play non-stereotypical TV leads, received an Emmy for his unforgettable Roots performance, became the first black actor to play a U.S. president on screen in the Terminator follow-up, Damnation Alley. Today, his LT. Traxler scenes serve as a masterclass in subtle acting. Watch how his eyes shift from skepticism to dawning horror when Sarah describes the Terminator. It's a performance that deserves to be remembered alongside his more celebrated dramatic work. As Winfield himself once said, "Good acting isn't about the size of the role. It's about the truth you bring to it." With his world-weary eyes and gravelly voice, Lance Henrikson made Detective Hal Vukovich one of the Terminator's most believably human characters. At 44 during filming, The veteran character actor brought gritty authenticity to the LAPD investigator who dismisses Sarah Connor's warnings, right up until the moment a cyborg blows him away. Henrikson's path to the Terminator was as hardscrabble as his screen persona. Born to a dancer and a sailor who abandoned the family, he grew up homeless in New York, illiterate until age 30. His breakthrough came when James Cameron, impressed by his work in Piranha 2, cast him in The Terminator, beginning a creative partnership that would later yield Alien's iconic android Bishop. Though never a leading man, Henrikson became a sci-fi/horror legend through roles in Millennium and Near Dark. But his personal life mirrored his character's struggles: 3 failed marriages, estrangement from his 2 children, and financial ruin after a restaurant venture collapsed. "I was always working, but never knew how to hold on to anything," he confessed in his memoir. Now 84, Henrikson has found late-life peace through painting. His expressionist works sell for thousands, and voice acting, Justice League The Strain. At fan conventions, he charms crowds with stories about Terminator's shoestring budget, like the day Schwarzenegger nearly crashed their only police car during filming. His legacy? Proving character actors can be just as unforgettable as stars. That twitchy moment when Vukovich realizes Sarah might be telling the truth? Pure Henrikson magic. As he told Fangoria, great roles aren't about the lines, they're about the silence between them. When 13-year-old Edward Furlong delivered the line, "We're not going to make it, are we? People, I mean," as John Connor in Terminator 2, Judgment Day, no one realized he was foreshadowing his own tragic arc. The fresh-faced discovery became Hollywood's hottest child star overnight, winning MTV and Saturn Awards for his performance as Sarah Connor's tech-savvy son. But behind the scenes, Furlong's life was already veering toward disaster. The actor's troubled upbringing, shuffled between relatives in Glendale, California, left him unprepared for fame's pressures. By 15, he was drinking heavily. By 18, he'd entered rehab for cocaine addiction. Multiple arrests followed: domestic violence, drug possession, probation violations, derailing what should have been a major career. His 2006 marriage to actress Rachel Bella ended amid abuse allegations, though they reconciled long enough to have son Ethan before divorcing in 2009. Furlong's physical transformation shocked fans, from the bright-eyed teen to a heavy-set, tattooed figure struggling with addiction. A 2013 restraining order from his Terminator 2 co-star and former Guardian revealed disturbing details about his spiral. Yet glimmers of his talent remained, like his 2019 The Shepherd comeback attempt that never gained traction. Now 47, Furlong exists in career limbo, too old for his child star image, too damaged for mainstream roles. He occasionally appears at conventions, signing T2 memorabilia, his once boyish face now lined with hard living. His story stands as Hollywood's starkest cautionary tale about child fame, a real-life John Connor who never got to lead the resistance. The cruel irony? Furlong's performance remains one of cinema's most authentic portrayals of adolescence. That heartbreaking final thumbs up to the T-800 still moves audiences, a fleeting moment of perfection before the fall. As director James Cameron once lamented, Edward had more raw talent than anyone. The tragedy is we'll never know what he might have become. Longevity. As the liquid metal T-1000 in Terminator 2, Judgment Day, Patrick's chilling performance, all predatory stares and inhuman movements, created cinema's most innovative villain since the original T-800. At 33 during filming, the former Navy man trained for months to achieve the Terminator's relentless physicality, even learning to run without blinking for added creep factor. But unlike his shape-shifting character, Patrick refused to be confined to one mold. After T2, he deliberately avoided villain roles, showcasing his range in the X-Files as the mysterious Agent Doggett and Walk the Line as Johnny Cash's father. This strategic pivoting saved him from the fate of many action movie heavies, though it came at cost. During the 2000s, he battled alcoholism, later admitting, I was running from my own demons as hard as my T-1000 chased John Connor. Patrick's personal life proved more stable than his on-screen counterparts. Married since 1990 to Barbara, the couple raised 2 sons in relative Hollywood anonymity. His later career renaissance included memorable turns in Peacemaker and Perry Mason, proving that beneath the T-1000's chrome lay serious acting chops. Now 66, Patrick embraces his Terminator legacy while continuing to evolve. At conventions, he demonstrates the T-1000's signature head tilt to delighted fans, then discusses his passion for mentoring young actors. His secret to longevity? Never let the industry define you. That metal bastard opened doors, but I walked through them as myself. Patrick's legacy is one of reinvention, from terrifying villain to respected character actor. That he made an emotionless machine so memorably human remains his greatest trick. As he told a Hollywood reporter, the T-1000 wasn't my peak. It was my launch pad. Terminator 2, audiences witnessed one of sci-fi's most powerful moral reckonings. At 44 during filming, Morton brought Shakespearean gravitas to the role of the brilliant engineer whose creations would nearly destroy humanity, a performance that made his character's ultimate sacrifice deeply moving. The Juilliard-trained actor had already built an impressive career before T2, including his breakout in The Brother from Another Planet, 1984. But it was his post-Terminator work that cemented his legacy, particularly his Emmy-winning role as Rowan Pope in Scandal, proving his mastery of both sci-fi and political drama. Off-screen, Morton's quiet dignity contrasted with his character's turmoil. A devoted father to daughter Haley, he balanced acting with teaching at New York's prestigious Stella Adler studio. His 2018 memoir, The Actor's Journey, revealed private struggles, including depression after his father's death and the challenges of being a black actor in Hollywood. They saw me either as a scientist or a criminal. The humanity in between? That was my performance. Now 77, Morton continues working steadily. Godfather of Harlem *, Speed of Life. His signature beard now white, but his intensity undimmed. He still gets recognized for Terminator 2, particularly for Dyson's haunting last words, "I didn't know." As Morton reflects, that line sums up our relationship with technology even better today. Morton's legacy extends beyond acting. He's mentored countless young performers while advocating for diversity in STEM fields. His Dr. Dyson remains uniquely poignant in the Terminator saga, the only character who truly understood the weight of his creations and paid the price for that knowledge. Hey, buddy. Those 2 words launched Bill Paxton into cinematic history as the Doom-punk leader in the Terminator-S opening scene, though his screen time lasted barely a minute. 29-year-old Paxton's sneering charisma made an indelible impression, especially when Arnold Schwarzenegger's cyborg ripped out his heart without breaking eye contact. This would become Paxton's signature, stealing scenes in iconic films. From Aliens, panicky Hudson to Twister-S, storm-chasing Daredevil, he became the ultimate that guy actor. His directorial debut, Frailty, 2001, revealed surprising depth behind the wisecracking persona. But it was his role in Titanic, 1997, as the treasure hunter that cemented his place in pop culture. Off-screen, Paxton's life was as colorful as his characters. A Texas native, he began his career as a set dresser for Roger Corman before becoming James Cameron's Lucky Charm, appearing in all his films except Piranha 2. His marriage to Louise Newberry produced 2 children, though the couple weathered storms, including Paxton's 2012 heart surgery. Tragically, that same procedure would claim his life 5 years later. On February 25, 2017, just days after surgery to replace a heart valve, Paxton suffered a fatal stroke at 61. His sudden death shocked Hollywood. Tom Hanks, among many, called him the finest of men. Today, Paxton's legacy lives on through his son James' acting career and the Bill Paxton Film Scholarship at his alma mater. That cocky punk who taunted the wrong machine, he became something far greater. Proof that character actors could be every bit as legendary as leading men. As James Cameron said at his memorial, Bill didn't just show up, he lit up the screen, then your heart. With just 7 minutes of screen time across 2 Terminator films, Earl Bowen created one of sci-fi's most memorable supporting characters. As the smug psychiatrist Dr. Silberman, his transformation from arrogant skeptic to traumatized believer provided crucial comic relief in both films. At 47 during the original Terminator, Bowen's deadpan delivery, "Of course I'm sure. I'm a doctor," made him an audience favorite despite his limited role. The classically trained actor had already built a prolific career before Terminator, appearing in over 50 films and hundreds of TV episodes. But it was his voice work that became his true legacy, from The Lion King's hyenas to dozens of video game characters. His distinctive baritone made him one of animation's most sought-after talents. Off-screen, Bowen lived quietly with his wife Carol until her death in 2001. The couple had no children, and Bowen gradually withdrew from public life after her passing. In his final years, he battled lung cancer while continuing occasional voice work from his home. He passed away on January 5, 2023 at 81, having never fully escaped being recognized as that Terminator doctor. Bowen's legacy endures through his voice roles and that perfect moment in T2 when a battered Dr. Silberman finally accepts the truth about Skynet. As he once joked, "I went from analyzing Sarah Connor to voicing a talking carrot. That's range." His performance remains a masterclass in making every second count. The moment Dick Miller's pawn shop clerk sized up Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator and declared, "Nice night for a walk," he cemented his place in cult film history. At 55 during filming, the veteran character actor brought his trademark wit to what could have been a throwaway role, his nervous smirk and sharp banter making the scene unforgettable. Miller was already a B-movie legend by 1984, with roles in Roger Corman classics like A Bucket of Blood, 1959. But The Terminator introduced him to a new generation, leading to memorable parts in Gremlins, Explorers, and The Howling. His career became a masterclass in turning small roles into iconic moments, often playing fast-talking working-class guys with a world-weary charm. Off-screen, Miller's life was quieter than his on-screen personas. Married to Laney since 1958, they remained together until his death, though financial struggles and health issues plagued their later years. A lifelong smoker, Miller suffered from emphysema but kept working well into his 80s, appearing in films like the Terminator's spiritual successor Looper, 2012. He passed away on January 30th, 2019, at 90, leaving behind over 180 film credits. His final years were spent in relative obscurity, though fans still quote his Terminator lines with reverence. As director Joe Dante once said, asterisk, "Dick could do more with 3 lines than most actors could with a monologue." Asterisk, crucial texture to its dystopian world. Bess Mata, Ginger. Sarah Connor's doomed roommate brought warmth to her brief role before becoming a 1980s fitness TV star. Now 66, she teaches yoga in Arizona after surviving bankruptcy and family tragedies. Rick Rossovich, Matt, as Ginger's ill-fated boyfriend. His early death scene established the Terminator's ruthlessness. The Top Gun actor later overcame a near-fatal 2001 car accident and now lives quietly in California at 67. Brian Thompson, Punk. The future X-Files bounty hunter was the first victim of Schwarzenegger's iconic police station massacre. Now 65, he retired from acting after a motorcycle crash and works as an artist. Asterisco asterisco Castro Guerra, Enrique, asterisco asterisco. The Resistance ally who shelters Sarah and John in T2 continued acting until his 2018 passing at 72. His final role, fittingly, was in 2015's Terminator Genesis. Jeanette Goldstein, Janelle. After her tough truck stop waitress in T2, this Aliens veteran struggled with typecasting before leaving Hollywood to raise her children. Danny Cooksey, Tim. John Connor's video game-obsessed foster brother grew up to voice animated shows like King of the Hill after overcoming early fame's pitfalls. Xander Berkeley, Todd Voigt. The abusive foster father's chilling performance launched a prolific villain career. Asterisk 24 asterisk, The Walking Dead. Now 69, he mentors young actors. These actors created indelible moments with minimal screen time, whether it's Mata's terrified final scream or Berkeley's casual cruelty. Their careers took wildly different paths, but together they built the lived-in reality that made the Terminator universe feel terrifyingly plausible. As Goldstein once noted, "We were the human stakes that made the machines feel real." The Terminator franchise's true legacy isn't just about killer robots or time travel paradoxes. It's about the fragile humans caught in the crossfire, both on screen and off. As we've traced the journeys of these actors from 1984 to today, a haunting pattern emerges. Life often imitated art in the cruelest ways. The same determination that propelled Arnold Schwarzenegger from bodybuilder to governor nearly destroyed his personal life. Linda Hamilton's real battles with mental health mirrored Sarah Connor's war against fate. Edward Furlong's tragic arc outdid even John Connor's dystopian childhood. These stories reveal Hollywood's double-edged sword. For every actor like Robert Patrick who successfully reinvented themselves, there was a Michael Biehn, crushed by the industry's fickleness. The supporting cast's fates proved equally unpredictable. Some, like Lance Henrikson, found late-life serenity, while others, Bill Paxton, Paul Winfield, left us too soon with unrealized potential. Yet through all the turbulence, the film's cultural impact remains undeniable. They launched sci-fi into the mainstream, revolutionized special effects, and created archetypes that still influence storytelling today. More importantly, they gave us characters so vividly human that we still care about their real-life counterparts decades later. That punk who sneered at the wrong machine. The psychiatrist who lost his smug certainty. The engineer who realized his creation would doom mankind. These weren't just roles. They were mirrors held up to our own fears about technology, destiny, and survival. As the franchise continues without most of its original cast, there's poetry in how their real endings diverge from their fictional ones. Sarah Connor outlived Judgment Day only to face private demons. The actors who played Terminators became more famous than the heroes. And the child who was supposed to save humanity nearly destroyed himself. Perhaps that's why these films still resonate. Beyond the explosions and CGI, they were ultimately about us. Our resilience, our flaws, and our endless capacity to fight for tomorrow. The machines may have been the spectacle, but the humans were always the soul. Asterisk, which Terminator actor's journey surprised you most? Share your thoughts below, and subscribe for more untold Hollywood stories. Asterisk.